Meeting order. Everyone, please stand for the pledge and the prayer.
I make the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stretch.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the gift of life and your continuous love for us. We pray for your protection and guidance, Lord. May you bless the night ahead, and thank you for bringing us together tonight. Please continue to bless our community in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Need a roll call, please?
Councilor Bradshaw,
Here.
Councilor Navarro,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Here.
Mayor Becker.
Here.
Councilor Segola is absent this evening and has been excused, and a quorum is declared.
Do you have any modifications to the agenda?
No, sir, we do not have any modifications this evening.
Approval of the consent agenda, minutes of regular meeting from June 18th, 2026, and approval of accounts payable.
Motion to approve the consent agenda and accounts payable.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda, the minutes of regular meeting from June 18th, 2026, and approval of accounts payable. Is there any discussion? Unita?
Councilor Bradshaw,
Yes.
Councilor Navarro,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Mayor Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we'll move on to citizen comments and special presentations. Citizen comments, city council welcomes your unscheduled comments. Please limit it to 3 minutes, and council will not take action at this meeting. Margot?
Mr. Miller,
Yes, ma'am.
we have somebody else that was about ready to stand up.
Oh, come on forward. Sorry about that. I didn't see you stand behind the podium.
No problem. My name is Xander Sterevin. I'm a college student and I'm doing my senior thesis research about local government across the San Luis Valley. So I'm just trying to connect with all the local leaders I can to learn what I can about these communities and how local government works around here. So if any of you would be willing to participate in a short interview with me at some point in the coming weeks, I'd really appreciate that. But yeah, I just wanted to come here and introduce myself and observe the meeting.
Very good. Thank you. That's good.
Xavier, was your email address on this form?
And yes, I have a form with my contact info that it's okay. So
Thank you.
Very good. I'd be more than happy to feed you full of politics.
thank you.
Thank you for being here. Margot?
Like
Top
seeing
down.
people.
Yes, ma'am.
That's awesome. Thank you. For
Having you here.
oh. Margot Alexander, hello, everybody. I'm finally here on time. I just wanted to say how wonderful the parade was Saturday. I think that's one of the best parades we have had in quite a while. And some of those folks, they really put in an effort. The Kids Connection, that was the cutest flow. I mean, it was just a joy. And I did not realize that our junior high had that many kids in band. That's just like, whoa. And they're so good. So it was just fun to see. My daughter and I had a good time for that. And I have some friends who say, Margot, please bring this up to the city council because they don't want to come. So I'm bringing this up. They live on Sherman and they're seeing the building of the
Hotel?
baseball
Oh, baseball.
fields, right?
Yes.
And they were curious who's going to pay for the water for those baseball fields. And I said, well, I assume it'd be the schools, but I didn't know. I just thought I'd ask for them. And so,
So the baseball field, the school district has 2 wells out there, and so
okay,
it's under the management of the school.
okay, thank you. I'll let them know because they were concerned. So Anyway, I'm just happy y'all are here and it's so nice to see y'all, young people. It's wonderful. Thank you.
like old people?
Well, I tell you, it's nice to see.
hello.
That's very cute. Now, us old people have wisdom, don't we? So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margot. Lonnie?
Make this, it's long since I come and seen y'all. First I want to make a complaint. I really missed our fireworks so forth and it's Stampede. So y'all need to turn the rain on. So we can have fireworks next year, okay? I'm just saying.
Last night.
Pardon?
You tried last night.
Oh, I know, it was nice, wasn't it? I didn't know it was raining until it was too late and I didn't get to run around in it. On the good notes, want to thank to Rob and his crew. Got an awesome crew. Okay. The turn lane over on Safeway, I didn't notice, you all notice that it's painted. And people are using it. So they're not in the right side turning left. Awesome. The sidewalk on Monroe, have you all seen that?
Yes.
In front of the Iglesia, right across from Safeway. That's awesome. I saw a lady actually using it. I mean, they weren't even done and she was already using
Well,
it.
we gotta fix that curb. Because
The
the,
ramp on the curb.
so in the gutter, it's really deep. I know, cause my wife took out her tire on there.
Ooh. Okay. And then I talked to some kids that actually go to Kids Connection. And they were so excited. They just loved going. And their mom went and got them after it was time. And they were not happy campers. They wanted to go back and play somewhere. So just so you all know, and thank you. And thanks to the crew.
Thank you, Monty. Sir?
Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Matt Nearing, and I'd like to just read a letter regarding the mosquito control program and so forth. And if possible, I'd just like to share a copy with each of you as well at the end.
Be sure and sign that paper for
I
me.
will do that. Thank you. Put the pen right here. Let me get that in. Thank you. So Mayor, council members, and city staff, on June 2nd, the city announced a new data-driven mosquito management program. Many residents were encouraged by that announcement. For years, Monte Vista has relied on what appears to be a legacy mosquito control program centered primarily on routine weekly pesticide applications. The city's announcement suggested a welcome shift toward a more modern approach, one that would use mosquito surveillance, species identification, and disease monitoring to guide decisions and potentially reduce unnecessary pesticide applications. That is the direction of many mosquito control programs across the country have moved in. It recognizes that pesticide can have unintended impacts on human health, pollinators, birds, and other wildlife, and that treatment decisions should be informed by actual conditions on the ground. Based on the city's description of the new data-driven program, residents naturally expected information about trap data, disease vector species, laboratory testing, and the specific mosquito population data demonstrating that weekly pesticide applications were necessary. In addition to the city's monitoring methods, approximately 1 month into an inquiry into the city's monitoring methods approximately 1 month into the new program revealed that no data had been collected because traps had not yet been delivered. More importantly, it revealed that the lack of monitoring is not simply a supply chain issue. A data-driven mosquito management program requires more than purchasing traps. It requires a monitoring plan. Where will the traps be located? How often will they be checked? What species are being monitored? What threshold triggers action for spraying? How will monitoring results influence treatment decisions? These are the if this, then that components that transform monitoring into a true decision-making framework. Based on information provided by the city, those elements do not appear to have been established. There are no defined action thresholds, no documented surveillance framework, and no clear explanation of how collected data would be used to make treatment decisions. It is also concerning that procedures for mosquito identification, sampling, sample handling, and laboratory submission do not appear to be formally established either. If samples are going to be used to guide public policy, residents should have confidence that reliable methods and quality control procedures are in place. The question remains is why the city chose to publicly announce a data-driven mosquito management program before the basic elements of such a program had been developed. This discrepancy between what was promised and what appears to have been implemented deserves an explanation. Perhaps the city genuinely recognizes the need for a modern surveillance program, but lacks the capacity, expertise, or resources to put one in place. If that is the case, the city should acknowledge those limitations and seek assistance from professionals with mosquito surveillance and pesticide application expertise. Many communities similar to Monte Vista in size contract trained specialists to provide monitoring, disease surveillance, regulatory compliance, data-driven treatment recommendations, and pesticide applications. Ultimately, this discussion is not about whether mosquito control should occur, it's about whether decisions that affect every resident in the community are being made defensible and established methods. Before closing, it is important to emphasize that these comments are not intended as a criticism of city staff. It is a community, in a community the size of Monte Vista, the Public Works Department is excellent and is responsible for an enormous range of duties and responsibilities. Expecting existing staff to also possess the expertise in mosquito surveillance, disease monitoring, pesticide application, laboratory procedures, regulatory compliance, and data analysis is simply unrealistic. However, when a city chooses to apply pesticides across an entire community on a weekly basis, the responsibility to understand the impacts to those applications becomes equally important. The effects of chemical exposure should be well understood, the benefits should be measured and quantifiable, and those benefits should clearly outweigh the associated risks. Residents should not be asked to accept weekly pesticide applications simply because that is how things have always been done. They should be able to see the evidence that demonstrates those applications are necessary, effective, and in the best interest of the community. Our request is simple, that the City Council please direct the Public Works Department to provide residents with an honest accounting of how mosquito control decisions are currently being made, what specific data is being used to justify the pesticide applications, and what steps will be taken to develop the truly data-driven mosquito management program that was promised. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Just leave a few copies with you. And I don't know if you like to go. It's also you can please. Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Any other citizen comments? Like being at an auction, you turn your head so nobody pays attention. Okay, we will move on to scheduled appearances. In order to be included in this portion of the agenda, you have to file the appropriate paperwork with the city clerk no later than noon on Monday prior to the meeting. Axon BWC's presentation. That's gotta be.
Good evening. So what I wanted to go over is Axon is our body worn camera that we've been using for umpteen amount of years. What myself and Brandon Gallegos have been working with Axon over the last several months is trying to upgrade our technology and help with some of the report writing and technologies out there to speed up some of the processes that we have for our police officers and stuff. So the proposal here is I want to go over some of the things that this program does. With this Axon, we get a upgraded body worn camera. We'll have 18 body worn cameras, 17 body worn cameras, but hopefully an additional one for any use of things. This contract, what this is a proposed contract over the next 10 years. So what it's going to be taking us from is the body camera that we got right now, taking it from just basically having our interactions, and that's what it gets is stored, and we go back and review those, to being able to take that, get transcriptions done with it, and also uplink that into what they call a draft one, an AI form to assist us in writing reports. So this program enhances our ability to get things into a computer much quicker, get our reports done much quicker, and shorten those things. Additionally, there's a link that we will have. It's a public link, so this is another access point. So when the citizens do have cameras out in the neighborhoods, we can register those cameras, and if we have access to those, we can review those. Additionally, when officers go out on different calls, say a shoplift or whatever, instead of us having to wait for them to download things and going back and using a file to download it and then go back to the PD. We can just assign them a link. When they get that, they can upload that link to us and it comes back to us. And all they do is it gets assigned to the officer, they review it, and they can add it to the case file, and it gets uploaded into the link. One of the big things, it's taken some time. I mean, Axon has a lot of different a lot of technology out in the world. And so I think if you go to that last page, the technology, this is a 10-year contract, and we started out with a proposal of over 600,000. That would cost us $60,000 a year. We worked with them and negotiated things down to get that down to under 400,000, which is 40,000 a year. We currently use $20,000, so yes, I'm asking for an additional 20,000. But I believe there's cost savings in that. My belief is we've been demoing this for about the last week and a half, and several of the officers have already told me it's cutting reports time in half. I had one that had said, hey, I had this one that probably would have took me 5 hours and I got it done in less than 2. So the timing is going and that cuts down. At the end of the night, when I have people staying over and getting reports done and staying over after a 12-hour shift for another hour or different things, those times are adding up. The times that they're in there writing reports means that the times they're not out on the streets. So if we can cut that down, that's going to save us time. It's going to cut down on our overtime. This program will make our reports more efficient, more direct, and probably put in more details than they're accustomed to, which will only enhance our ability to prosecute people, get better reports to the DA's office, and hold people accountable for that. So really what this is I wanted to come before you guys tonight. Obviously, it has a big price tag on it. It goes over a 10-year period. That's $40,000 a year. However, I believe it's a great investment for us, for Monte Vista and the police department and the officers that we have. And so what I'd just be asking for is your approval for us to be able to move forward with this, to give the city manager authority to bless us in, and that we can move forward with upgrading our body worn cameras and get us to the next level of where we need to be. And I do have Brandon here for the technical stuff, so because that leaves me out of the technical things. So
Budget,
budget,
that money in the budget for it?
we do, as of right now, we do. So as I said, I think some of the big things that my hope and belief is that this is really going to cut down on some of that overtime.
Yeah.
So I believe that will enhance us and put that money back into this program and help that. So that's where I see the savings right now. Right now, we do have some of that through salary savings, so that will help us through this year and probably next. But as I continue to hire those people and get those positions filled, the savings will be in the less of overtime.
Chief, explained how, when it writes the report, how it kind of puts in things that double checks to make sure that the officer is actually reading the report for accuracy.
So that's probably a big thing. Everyone gets this idea. I think there's a confusion. AI is great. Obviously, it creates things from what it sees, and that you think that, oh, then we just push a button and we accept that. Body worn camera and Axon has really built in a really good system here, is that it builds that, but it also has questions that it asks you, and then you can put in additional information to fill in those blanks. But Axon is built in this system where it throws in little crazy words or sentences that have nothing to do with the report, and it makes you have to read through that report and find those. If you don't find those, it will not let you approve that report. So that's one built-in system there. The second is what we currently have. The officer approves a report, then it goes to a supervisor. A supervisor reviews that and approves that report too. So we get an extra level of review in there. We get the approval of that officer. We know that they've read through it, because now they have to find that thing. If you put a report in, let's say they put, something about lemonade was sold at the Stampede, and it has nothing to do with that, you have to find that, or you can't approve that report. So there's all these things built in. And this technology, first of all, this technology is here. The technology has been here. It's been mandated by the state that officers wear body worn cameras. This is just an enhancement to that. So this isn't us tracking anything. This is just us getting a transcription of our conversations that we have. It's putting that into an AI form to help us analyze things and get a better report and put those in. And then that officer gets the opportunity to fix things and throw in additional information that makes it just a stronger report in a much quicker time.
So just to reiterate that, this is about 20,000 more than what you're doing today.
Correct. Yeah.
You'll write that in to the budget next year, even though we got it covered, but.
Yes, we'll work it into the budget and ensure that it's in there and it's written in there. From wherever we find it in the budget.
And the price is locked in then, so it'll be the same price for each 10 years. There's not an escalation.
No inflationary cost or.
No. As long as we're in it, this is what we'll pay for over the next 10 years. Additionally, as technology changes, we get the upgrades to that technology as it goes about. So if they upgrade something in the next 2 years and the body camera changes, we get the new body cameras and with no additional cost to that.
So the city owns the cameras, or are they kind of leased out through?
No, we own the cameras, but we get the upgrades to it. So everything that we have is owned by us, but then as the technology enhances, which changes daily, with every couple of years that enhances, and then we'll get the next upgrade to those things.
Okay.
So I make that motion to approve the contract with Exxon Technology, the proposal for 10 years for body worn cameras.
I'll second it.
I need to add the GG signs for it, right? We're just
You
in
can
that.
sign for it.
So, so it's been moved and seconded to approve Axon BWC presentation to, for the body worn cameras for the amount of $399,757.01 for a 10-year period. And city manager signed the contract. Is there any discussion?
Chief. Get it on the agenda later. I've been meaning to tell you, I really enjoyed the foot pursuit there out of Safeway a while back.
I'm glad that you enjoyed that. I'm sure that our officers did too. We've had a lot of
I was
excitement.
driving down the road and there was this officer chasing this thing down the.
Well, and I would tell you, just some good things is there has been a lot of good work going on in the police department. The last 2 weeks have been very busy with parade, stampede planning, a lot of activity, law enforcement stuff. So the officers are doing a great job. I think everyone was pretty pleased with our operations from the parade and how we operated that to the stampede in the last 3 days of that. I think everything was really good. And I would tell you, the officers out there are doing a really good job on reports and finding people and stuff. So we've had some joint operations in the last couple of days with Alamosa and Alamosa SO. So it's been we have a lot of good things going, and we're really getting some good partnerships together, and so things are moving forward.
You don't often get to see them on foot chasing somebody.
Yeah, that's nice to hear. So good to hear.
Enjoyed that.
Thanks, Chief.
Whatever.
Unita?
Counselor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Counselor Naranjo,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Mayor Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve the Axon BWC's program and to allow city manager to sign.
All right, we'll move on to the update on Sherman intersection project. Mr. Vance.
Good evening, council. Gigi asked me to provide city council an update on our intersection project in the MMOF. Primarily, she wanted me to touch on the intersection change. If you can pull that up. But the drawings are in your packet, and what we're proposing is the footprint will remain the same, but the layout's going to change slightly. I'll give her a chance to pull that up so everybody in the audience can actually see it.
In your packet, it's on page 13.
So as it exists now, everybody knows that there's a little dog leg that comes out for people to turn to the left to go eastbound towards Alamosa, and then a lot of times people will turn right, go back into town, and then every once in a while there where you have that 60-degree angle turn to go back into town, you'll have somebody that gets messed up and they want to turn left and they wind up back in traffic way up along there. So what we've done in our design is we've gotten rid of that little 60-degree dogleg there and pulled Sherman more towards a 90, towards 160. So we have better visibility. If those of you that have lived here, you all know that there has been a death. And I'll just walk up to the screen to make it a little more clear. So right now, all traffic turning on to Sherman turns on to this little dog leg here, and then eastbound traffic turns in here, and we have this conflux of traffic trying to hit right here. We did have a death right in this area. We do have traffic every once in a while stepping out of council's way, but people trying to make this left-hand turn, that backs everybody up. If you'll go to the next sheet, Nita. This is gonna be our new design. All traffic will come in and enter here. And while this looks like it's a raised median, it is not. It is just concrete. So it's gonna be asphalt on either side with a concrete drive over median that it's not raised. It's just a different color, so you can tell the difference. Traffic will go ahead and turn in here, both sides. Traffic will come, make that left-hand turn and then right-hand turn. This will be, and we'll pull pedestrian traffic over here onto this walkway. And we'll do away with this area that used to be that single right-hand turn that everybody will go. And then this will have restriping on it as well, the highway. So that's what the new intersection is gonna look like.
It'll be 2 lane.
It'll be 2 lane. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And then this area right here, that's also fanned out, will also be concrete anyway, so any trailers turning in there will have room for their trailers to access onto that as well. So it won't, like I said, it won't be raised, it's just gonna be a different color. Okay,
That would be nice.
so we'll do away with that 60-degree dog. Everything on Sherman will be a 90-degree angle in. The highway itself will be a dedicated left turn lane on to Sherman. And then we'll have a dedicated right turn in here through lane. So, and then we'll just kind of show you how this will all work out through here. Eastbound lane will continue to be a 12-foot through lane through, and then we'll have the arrows to show how this transpires. So, any questions on that?
When do you start them?
We are still getting through the CDOT process. So hopefully we will have final approval middle of August. And that'll give us the okay to go out to bid. Our bid documents, other than any final changes they have here on the bid documents, are ready. We're in the process of obtaining our temporary construction easements now. So once we have all of those signed, we have 8 out of 18 signed. We're working through the final 10. And once we get those all signed and paid for, then we're good there. And we just have some environmental aspects of that CDOT's wanting. It's just paperwork stuff. But once our engineers have all that worked out, then we're ready to go to bid. So
Seems like there was discussion about the sidewalk project.
It is. This is all, so this is a separate grant. The Sherman Interceptor grant, but it was all rolled into the multimodal, the sidewalk project.
Right.
It is all part of the same project now.
Right.
So the sidewalks are continuing. So, yes,
What does continuing mean?
it's the same project. So the sidewalks will continue from Sky High all the way to the Alta there by the railroad tracks.
But are they part of this?
Yes, they are.
So when we issue the notice to proceed,
It'll be for everything
the sidewalks also.
as well, the sidewalks and the intersection. And that way, because this project is too small to do it, so we rolled them into one larger project
Right.
for economy of scale and cost.
Will we get some kind of a visual of the sidewalk
Yes,
at some point?
yeah, I can bring that to you next meeting.
Sure, be good.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, the sidewalks kind of move around a little bit because the right of ways change a little bit as we go through, but yeah, I can definitely bring some schematics of what the sidewalks look like.
Something.
Yep, absolutely. Any questions from council on this? Does it make sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Questions? Okay. Take on next team.
Yeah.
Next will be discussion on water and sewer rate increases.
Right back.
Want to recess?
Yeah.
Okay. We are in recess.
How's that gonna affect going into the Dollar General?
It won't affect it at all. So what you see in front of Dollar General, we sent them the plans of what the sidewalk would look like for their design. So, yep, all of that stays exactly the same. And we will match up the either side of theirs.
Exactly.
So.
All right. Discussion on water and sewer rate increases.
So this is the much condensed version of what you gentlemen saw last night.
Not the general.
So, all right, next slide, Nita. So, we're gonna start with the sewer rate increase for the wastewater plant bids. What you see on this is the bid tabulation, so everybody can see and then realize it's kind of small.
No.
I'll
it's
just
very
read you the numbers. So back in March, we had our bid opening for the new wastewater plant. And those bids, we had two bidders. The low bid came in for these 5 bid schedules. Came in, go ahead and slide it over, Nina. At $49,751,668.45. The high bidder was $52,616, or excuse me, $616,411.81. So we are considerably over what the 30 million we had originally slated. So if you slide back to the other side, Nita. So, in order to build the new plant, we need to do bid schedules A and B. A is the new wastewater plant. B is the Henderson lift station and force main that gets all the wastewater from, Henderson out to the new location of the wastewater plant there at Veterans Center. These others, C, alternative A, B, and C, these are the other items that have to be done, but they don't have to be done immediately. These can be done later. But A and B's are the two that absolutely have to be done. And those two line items by themselves equal equal $42 million. So for us, next slide, Nita. What that equates to, and I'll just read this one so everybody kind of understands. Our first USDA, we received 30 million in loans and grant combination. And between 2009, well, it was 22 through 25, we raised the city rates up to $55.17 in city rates and $61.20 out of city rates to pay back that debt service. Bids schedule A and B for total $42 million, which equates to a $12 million shortfall. When the project construction adds in project management, engineering, testing, and the other requirements, the shortfall becomes $17 million. USDI has offered us a solution with another grant loan to fill that gap. The offer is a $12 million loan and a $5 million grant. We've also applied and received a $500,000 EIF grant from DOLA. In all, the USDA loan the city would be financing is $32 million over the next 40 years to build this plant. The plant is a requirement to bring the city back into CDPHE's compliance. Okay, next slide. The additional loan, the term is 40 years at 2.87%. We have a total of 1,990 services. The annual loan payment is $508,000. Increase per service per month is $21.30. So that would raise the in-city fee from $55.17 to a monthly rate of 76.45, and that's without any consideration of inflation. That's at today's dollars. Out of city base freeze would go from 61.20 to 82.50. I asked our engineers, the people doing the rate increase, to configure a 10% inflation rate because the plant won't be operational until 2028 at the very earliest. And that would bring in a monthly rate with the inflation of $84.12 a month in city and $90.75 out of city base rates. Okay. Okay, you can stop there. So sewer rate, or excuse me, so that gives us our sewer rate possibilities. Water rates. City council has been reluctant to raise rates due to the sewer rates and the issues with the sewer plants. Unfortunately, over the last 5 years, the water fund has dipped into the reserve funds 4 out of the last 5 years. For this year's budget, our deficit is planned to be $235,542. Going into the reserve funds is not sustainable long-term. At the beginning of this year, City Council asked Public Works to conduct a water rate study. Public Works contracted with Element Engineering to conduct that study. Next slide. Our discussions when we contracted with them was to look at the separation of residential and commercial rates, the continuation of tiered usage rates, and look at phased implementation, of the rate increases if necessary, and how those phases affected the overall budget. Discussions also set specific goals such as achieving a balanced budget, using the 2026 budget as a guide. That was kind of our target budget, not to increase the budget, but using that as our set budget. Achieving $100,000 annual surplus to repay our reserve fund and to keep some money in there for our larger capital expenditures such as the storage tank. Next slide. This gives you an idea under the proposed rates that I'm gonna present to you tonight, what the projected revenue looks like. Our current revenue that we have in the 2026 gives us $1.1 million. Our total expenses are $1.342 million with a net water fund income of a negative $235,000. With the proposed rates that I'm showing tonight, our revenue is 1.3 million. Our total revenue is 1.4. Our total expenses, again, it's the same as 2026. 1.3 million gives us a net income of $130,000. It meets all the goals. It's rate-driven operations. Make the goal of $100,000 going into the reserves funds. Next slide. Okay.
Sorry.
So this is what the new proposed base rates would be. For a residential with a 3/4 inch, the rate would go from $28 to $36.40 a month. A 1 inch would go from $28 to $40 a month, and it goes up depending on your water size. The commercial takes a little larger hit, as you can see down towards the bottom. $54 versus the 28 because there is no change. Oh, where did you go with me? Okay, next slide. We also increased the user fee. We increased those by 50 cents. $2 for the tier 2. Again, base rates include 5,000 gallons of water free with the base rates. People are using between 5,000 and 15,000, pay $2 versus the $1.50 they currently pay. Tier 3 goes up a little more. Tier 4 are those users that use over 30,000 gallons in a month. They go up to $3.50 per 1,000 gallons. Still almost as cheap as a bottle of water. So, okay. Next one. Right. So these are the summary recommendations from the engineers. They give you options, and I'll start at the bottom. Do no rate increase, no improvement in revenue, an ongoing a negative $230,000 annual shortfall, continued erosion of the city fund balance, defers necessary infrastructure and investment. For them, it's not recommended, unsustainable, jeopardizes the water system improvements and long-term viability of the enterprise fund. Number 2, phased over 3, 4, or 5 years. Partial revenue gain each year, full revenue realized only upon completion. Reduces deficit annually. Fund balance continues to be drawn upon until the phasing is complete. So, for example, if we phase this over 3 years, the fund balance continues to be in a deficit until we hit that 3-year mark, and then it finally evens out. It doesn't see a profit until year 4. Same for 4 years or 5 years. You don't see a profit until the year after the phase is complete. Acceptable but suboptimal, delayed full cost recovery, and prolongs the reliance on the fund balance. Number 1, full immediate rate increase is it gives you $130,000 net income the first year. It provides an added $379,000 of revenue in the first year. It's positive, it builds fund balance, and it funds capital improvements. It's recommended, maximizes revenue immediately, meets the city's $100,000 net income target. So next, I think that's the end of it. So there are a few copies back on the counter back there if anybody wants to take copy of the full memorandum. I'm also gonna have the city clerk post that on the city webpage. If anybody wants to read the memorandum in full. And then it's kind of up to city council what you want to do. As I told you last night in the work session, the sewer rates are, I don't want to say a must, but they're a must. If we want to build a plant and become compliant with CDPHE, the water rates, we can take a little more time. Regardless of what city council wants to do, I do want to hold a series of public meetings to get this out in the public and try to get a lot more public notice out there before we implement them. In all cases, I would not recommend that we initiate any of the rate increases until January 2027.
That was one of my questions. You say full immediate meaning 2027
Yes, sir.
on the water side.
On both sides. I think we can accomplish both. We have initiated the rate increases on the sewer side enough that our fund balance, even if we go into construction this year, that we should be fine to initiate the additional rate increases for 2027. So our residents don't feel that impact during 2026. So I'm open for any questions, comments.
Can I ask a question? On average, Rob,
Yes,
what's the average and use per household, per resident?
the average resident is going to see between an $8 to $20 a month average increase
Water.
in water.
And water.
Yes, everybody on the sewer side will see a $20 to $1 a month increase on their sewer bill across the board.
So if your average, we'd be doing about $45.
It should be a little less than $45
What's that trying to say?
on average.
I can remember 45.
45 is a safe number.
1911.
It should not be over $45 a month.
Rob.
Yes, yes, sir.
But if you go back to the sewer, the 21 is based on not the 10% inflation.
That is the 80.
It's 76, the 2140 is based on the 76, not the 84.
Yeah, I believe.
Maybe a
you're
little
right.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be a little more than that 21. You are correct. Yes. Yes, sir.
So it's not as big of a raise as it sounds.
You're talking about 40 bucks, more or less a month.
Per household.
40 bucks is 40 bucks.
Yeah.
For some people, it's not, some people.
It is a hit.
So how would we go about doing something? Need a motion, we need,
Unfortunately,
Action.
yes, we need a motion to raise the rates effective January.
can we go back to the slide with the proposed water rates?
Do you want to go ahead and pass this today? For the audience, we had a long work session on this last night, so council knows a lot more than what Rob went through. But I asked Rob just to do the Reader's Digest version for this evening. So do you want to wait until we hold a public meeting? Or do you want to go ahead and say this is what's being
I get one
proposed?
vote, so.
Based on public meeting, and I think that's important, so we can understand maybe better from the community. But as we talked last night, either do it in steps or just boom, do it. Looking at this, I see the value of we let everybody know and boom, we just do it. But let's get some.
I can get a public meeting scheduled for August.
And the rates would not go into effect until January
Yeah,
2027.
So then we can have, after you have a couple meetings, then we can
I can
discuss
get
this,
at least 2 public meetings on this year.
discuss that again, and then we can make the decision
Sure.
that we know we gotta do, but that way we get input.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I think
Sounds good.
people will see the percentages and they'll think numbers are a little bit higher, but once you explain to them $40-some, I think it'll be a little bit more
More
understanding
palatable.
than them saying, oh, 30% or,
Yeah. Yeah, percentage wise, the numbers get a little scary, percentage wise.
A lot of the we're kind of under the gun on the sewer contract, though.
We are a little on the gun for sewer, but like I said, we have enough fund balance that we can take some of the money from the fund balance until January. We still have to go and get all of the things approved for the sewer part of it. We have to get the letter of conditions through the USDA approved. That's on the agenda tonight. We have to get the contractor fully on board. So there are still some steps that have to take place before dirt on the ground starts moving.
But based on our discussion last night, you asked, when was the initial proposal by the low bid of the sewer
The
contract?
the bids were open March 19th.
And
The extension ran out the end of June.
yeah, ran out.
So, yeah. So we are under a gun to get the contractor under the notice of award. So he can start locking prices in and get his notice of award done. So we can lock prices in so we don't start looking at another pricing bids. So that's the part that's under the gun. The rates can wait a little while.
But you can't do the award, notice of award and not have a rate increase.
We have it drafted. Brad sent us language. It's in the notice of award that you see tonight that are fully contingent upon funding. Because we don't have a fully executed letter from the USDA yet.
Okay.
So yes, we can still move forward and still get him going.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the notice of award.
Well, that's coming at you just a little bit later in this council meeting.
Okay.
So, yes. So, but we will hold off on the rates until we have a public meeting. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rob. All right, looks like we're gonna move on to ordinances. Ordinance 938, an ordinance of the city of Monte Vista repealing section 8-1-50, article 1 of chapter 8 of the Monte Vista Municipal Code. Relation to limitation of action on punishable offenses and providing for severability, a safety clause, repeal of conflicting ordinances, and an effective date. Mr. Crowe.
Council, thank you. So the first one, there's two before you. Of course, ordinances will go into effect until 30 days after the effective date, which we're going to do tonight, or I'd like to, correct? Once passed and signed.
So tonight would be the first reading.
Oh, it's just the first reading. Sorry that we had this published. I'm sorry. I'll start with the first reading. The first one is sort of what I call the 12-month collection. So in our code, it said you only had 12 months from the date of the offense to collect any of your fines, costs, surcharges, etc. And that's pretty tough because people drag it out and then realize kind of they get to the end, where's our teeth or enforcement. So we want to change that. We want to take that out. And in conjunction with my astute legal assistant, Ms. Vance, the state may still require 12 months. However, that can be extended or stayed when there is a failure to appear warrant issued, which we do. That means you don't show up. You don't get to just disappear for 12 months. However, the way it was written, that was kind of going on where people disappear, we don't see them. So by changing this and taking it out, it'll hold us more to the state standard, which we're still under. That's the purpose of it. That said, I'll read it. An ordinance of the city of Monte Vista, Colorado, repealing section 8-150 of article 1 of chapter 8 of the Monte Vista Municipal Code relating to limitation of actions on punishable offenses and providing for severability and a safety clause, repeal of conflicting ordinances and effective. This is ordinance number 938. Whereas the city council finds and declares as follows. A, the city council has reviewed section 8-150 of the Monte Vista Municipal Code relating to the limitation of actions for municipal offenses. And whereas the city council finds that the current 1-year limitation period does not provide adequate time for investigation, prosecution, negotiation, compliance efforts, or settlement of municipal code enforcement matters. Whereas the city council further finds that repeal of section 8150 is necessary to allow municipal enforcement action to proceed in accordance with applicable state law and other governing legal requirements. Now, therefore, it be ordained by the city of Monte Vista as follows: Section 1, Home Rule Status Authority. And that's where we cite that Monte Vista, of course, Home Rule has its authority under Article 20 in the Constitution and the city's Home Rule Charter. The city council adopts this ordinance pursuant to its authority under Article 20, Section 6 of Colorado Constitution, Monte Vista Home Rule Charter, and the city's police powers to protect the public regarding health, safety, and welfare. Matter of concern, the city finds in terms that the investigation, enforcement, prosecution of violations of Monte Vista City Municipal Code, Monte Vista, I'm reading fast, there's no city there, and the related time limitations applicable to such municipal proceedings are matters of local concern and municipal affairs. The ordinance is enacted to promote an effective and efficient code enforcement as a component to the city's police powers. Section 2, repeal of 8150, limitations of actions. Section 8150 of the Monte Vista Municipal Code, which is entitled Limitation Actions, is hereby repealed in its entirety. The repealed sections previously provided all suits for recovery of any fine, prosecutions, or commission of any offense made punishable in this chapter shall be barred 1 year after the commission of the offense. And so what I mean by barred, that statute of limitations, you can't do anything about it anymore. And so that's why we're taking it out. The repeal of section 8150 is intended to allow sufficient time for investigation, enforcement, prosecution, negotiation, resolution of municipal code violations, related actions, including to proceed in accordance with applicable state law and other governmental legal requirements. Section 4 is our severability clause, that if any portion or section, sentence clause, phrase, or provision of this ordinance is judged by a court, jurisdiction being valid and unconstitutional, the rest of it shall remain and be enforceable. 5, safety clause. City council hereby finds the term declares this ordinance is necessary for the immediate preservation of the health, safety, and welfare of the city and its inhabitants. Section 6, repeal of inconsistent ordinances, conflict clause. Any ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed, but only to the extent of such conflict. The provisions of the Monte Vista Municipal Code as amended by this ordinance shall control where a conflict exists. Section 7, effective date, publication. Ordinance shall take effect 30 days after final passage and publication by title only, together with the ordinance's subject matter and newspaper of general circulation within the city or otherwise provided by the Monte Vista Home Rule Charter and applicable law. The city clerk shall cause this ordinance to be published by title only, with the statement that the full text is available at the office of the city clerk of the city's website, maintained in accordance with the charter and applicable law. Section 8, codification. City clerk and municipal code publisher are authorized to make such substantive editorial revisions are necessary to reflect the repeal set forth in this ordinance, including the removal of section 1850 from the code and corresponding updates. Any questions as to what we're doing or why? That's too bad. I'll get training. All right, excuse me. Next, we have ordinance number 939.
Let's do the first one.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 938, ordinance of the city of Monte Vista repealing section 8-1-50, article 1, chapter 8 of the Monte Vista Municipal Code on first reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 938, an ordinance of the city of Monte Vista repealing section 8-1-50 of article 1 of chapter 8 of the Monte Vista Municipal Code, relation to limitations of actions on punishable offenses and providing for severability, the safety clause, repeal of conflicting ordinances, and an effective date.
Which I guess they can take a vote, but it's just a first reading. We need to do this at the second reading.
Yeah.
The vote. So. Can't pass it yet. We got to publish it.
Pass it on the first reading.
Just do it. That's fine. Not necessary or you're.
Gonna call for a vote.
Councilor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Councilor Naranjo,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard.
Yes.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Ordinance 938 passes on first reading. An ordinance of the city of Monte Vista repealing section 8150 of article 1 of the chapter 8 of the Monte Vista Municipal Code, relation to limitation of actions of punishable offenses and providing for severability of safety clause, repealing of conflicting ordinance on the effective and an effective date.
Commission to proceed with ordinance 939, so.
Yes, sir.
An ordinance, and what this one is, we had a fee schedule and surcharges, which we charge. So there's fees and there's surcharges with criminal violations that we impose or the judge does in court that I asked for. And those were in the code itself. The only practical issue with that is if the fees change either by state law or we just decide to change the fees or surcharges. Now you got to go back and do an ordinance and change your code every time. This change in ordinance, what it would do is to say in the code that these fees and surcharges are subject to what's listed in our fee schedule. That would allow the fee schedule to change without having to go back and redo the ordinance. The fee schedule would be sort of a standalone piece of paper, but it's a part of the code incorporated therein, but it would allow us more flexibility if in fact those fees and surcharges change. In fact, we were changing them now and it was to 25.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year,
Bucks.
we had put on our fee schedule $50, but our code actually reflects them as 25, so we had to send it back to 25. So by adopting this ordinance will allow us to change them as the judge and the city attorney fit for our courts.
So it's really more of a practical tool, if you will, to allow us to go ahead and be able to make the changes as they come instead of having to go through this process over things like a fee schedule or a fee. That said, an ordinance of the city of Monte Vista, Rio Grande County, Colorado, amending chapter 2, section 2550 and E of the Monte Vista Municipal Code to provide that municipal court surcharge and court costs are established by the Monte Vista fee schedule, making home rule findings, stating purpose, providing for severability, and setting forth effective date and publication. Whereas the city of Monte Vista, the municipality is a home rule city organized and existing under Article 20, Section 6, State Constitution, and as such possesses the full right of self-government and local municipal affairs, including organization, operation, administration of its municipal court, and the imposition administration of municipal court surcharges and court costs. And whereas the city council of Monte Vista finds and declares that the establishment administration of municipal court surcharges and court costs are local and municipal matters of home rule concern related to the municipality's police power, fiscal management, and administration of justice in municipal court. And whereas the city council further finds it is necessary and appropriate to amend provisions of the Monte Vista Municipal Code relating to the municipal court surcharges and court costs in order to allow such fees to be established and amended through the municipality's duly adopted fee schedule to promote efficient administration and fiscal flexibility. Whereas the city council finds that allowing the surcharge and court costs to be established by a fee schedule providing flexibility or provides flexibility for future adjustments without requiring additional amendments to the municipal code, while preserving due process and transparency through the council's public consideration adoption of the fee schedule by ordinance or resolution is provided by charter and code. Whereas the city council has determined the amendments set forth here are consistent with and implement the municipality's home rule authority and the charter and promotes the public health, safety, and welfare. Whereas the city council hereby finds, determines, declares this ordinance fully adopted and pursuant to its home rule authority and additional authority provided by its home rule charter and the Monte Vista Municipal Code. Now be it therefore ordained by the city council of the city of Monte Vista, section 1, amendment to section 2550 of the Monte Vista Municipal Code is amended to read in full as follows. The municipal judge is hereby directed to assess a surcharge upon all municipal court convictions except as provided in subsection F below, where the same occurred through a guilty plea, finding of guilty, a plea of nolo contendere, or deferred sentence. The amount of surcharge shall be established by the city of Monte Vista fee schedule as adopted and amended by ordinance of the city council. The municipal judge is hereby directed to assess a surcharge upon municipal court convictions except as provided in subsection F below, whether the same occur through a guilty plea, finding of guilt, nolo contendere, or deferred sentence. The amount of such surcharge shall be established by the city of Monte Vista fee schedules adopted and amended by ordinance of the city council. Section 2, amendment to section 2550 of the municipal code is amended to read as follows. Court costs shall be assessed against defendants entering guilty pleas, noli contendere, or in cases resulting in the finding of guilt. The amount of such court costs shall be established by the city of Monte Vista fee schedules adopted and amended by ordinance of the city council. Court costs shall be assessed against the defendants entering pleas of guilty, noli contendere, in cases resulting in the finding of guilt. The amount of such court costs shall be established by the city of Monte Vista fee schedules adopted and amended by ordinance by the city council. Section 3, home rule authority, purpose, scope. The ordinance is adopted pursuant to the municipality's home rule charter under, of course, Article 20 of the state constitution and our charter, which confer upon municipality full right to self-govern in local municipal matters, including without limitation, the organization, administration of municipal court, and the imposition of administration of municipal court surcharges and costs. The purpose of the ordinance is to update the municipal code to provide that the municipal court surcharge and costs are established by the municipality's fee schedule. Promote administrative efficiency and flexibility by permitting future adjustments to the fee schedule, and implement the municipality's home rule authority in a manner that protects the public health, safety, and welfare. The provisions of this ordinance shall be construed to effectuate the municipality's home rule authority over local and municipal matters. Nothing herein shall be construed to alter any due process rights of defendants or the jurisdiction of the municipal court as established by the charter and code. Section 4, severability. Of course, if any section, subsection, sentence, clause, phrase of this ordinance is for any reason held invalid or unconstitutional, such as decisions shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of the ordinance. If any section, subsection, sentence, clause, or phrase of the ordinance is for any reason held invalid or unconstitutional, such decisions shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of the ordinance. Section 5, effective date shall take effect on the effective date or later upon adoption. And our effective date will be after the second reading and appropriate publication. Is that right?
Yes.
And the ordinance shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. That's how we'll do it later or a date later time. City clerk shall cause this ordinance to be published by title with the statement the full text is available for public inspection or otherwise required by the homeroom charter and applicable law, and shall make the full text available in the clerk's office and the municipality's official website. Section 6, repealer savings. 6, repealer all ordinances or parts of this ordinance conflict with the ordinance. All ordinance or parts of ordinances conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed, but only to the extent of such conflict. The amendments made by this ordinance shall affect the validity of any surcharge or court costs assessed prior to its effective date. Such matters will be governed by law and in effect at the time that they were addressed. And I think that's all we need to do, unless you guys, I never taught a process, or we will have to take a vote on the first reading. Let's do it later. So we will read, we publish, then we read again, and we'll pass it.
I have a question, the fee schedule. Does the fee schedule come to council for approval?
Yes, it does.
What, typically once a year, right?
At the beginning of each year.
And instead of having to like redo the whole code, we're just gonna redo the fee schedule, and hopefully go a little quicker and simpler. It was the whole idea anyway.
Full clarification.
Yes, sir. The mayor, raising your hand, or you just resting your glasses, or?
No, just,
All right, thank you.
thank you, Brad. We have to do that on first reading. You said no, we don't have to pass the first reading.
No.
Read it, publish it, pass it.
Okay.
Unless my law clerk disagrees, but she's done a good job. I'm not teasing her. She does a good
There's
job.
one less thing to do. I'm for
Okay.
It's a lot less reading we have to do.
it. Well, just one less vote.
All right, we'll move on to contracts, agreements, and leases. MOU with Rio Grande County Jail. Who's doing that one?
Chief Charlie.
Chief.
It doesn't matter. It don't matter, did it? Sure.
Brad sounded like an auctioneer up there after he read the last one.
Brad, you really good at this one. Did you want me to read it, or would you just like to know what it's about?
Synopsis is great.
Perfect. So this is between us and the Rio Grande Sheriff's Department for us to put anybody into jail that particularly we might want to put in there for municipal ordinance charges. They'd be charging us $70 a day per inmate as to what we would have. And so the agreement is that they would hold them, that they'll take care of them and do those things. Anything that's outside of that, then our officers would be called back to take care of those things if anything came about that. But if you do put them in there, it's $70 a day, and that would be the bottom line.
Have we ever had a situation where they didn't accept somebody?
Not that I'm aware of, but we haven't been sending.
Well, no, I understand.
Yeah. But
Typically, the
Well-
only times that you see problems with getting somebody in the jail is clearing them through the hospital of some sort, somebody having that. If we went to the hospital and somebody had certain things or didn't, you would probably just either keep the warrant in effect and leave them. But typically, I've never seen anybody not take someone for those reasons. That's another thing. If they, let's just say they accepted somebody and they got in there and found out they had something, they took them to the hospital. The first 24 hours, the sheriff's department would cover that. But after that, if they were to stay there, it would be on us to either come and look after them, or in essence, try to get the warrant put back in the system and just release them pending. Any further questions?
I'll make a motion to pass the MOU with Rio Grande County Jail
Does the city manager sign it?
with the manager, city manager signing it,
And the people.
and the chief of police.
Second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the MOU with Rio Grande County Jail intergovernmental agreement between the city of Monte Vista and Rio Grande County Sheriff's Office for the provision of housing and detaining individuals on behalf of the city of Monte Vista, reference to municipal charges. Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Counselor Naranjo,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the MOU with Rio Grande County and the Monte Vista Police Department, and allow for the city manager and the police chief to sign the contract.
Right on. Award bid for sewer jetter. I got so much to say for that, Rob, but I'm gonna keep it quiet.
It's a smelly subject, I'll just put it that way. So before you tonight is a request to approve the award for the procurement of a contract for the 2026 combination sewer jetter catch basin cleaner truck. The Public Works Department advertised a request for proposals from qualified vendors to purchase a new compact non-CDL single axle combination sewer and catch basin cleaner equipped with both jetter and vacuum capabilities. Bids for this equipment was publicly opened on June 17th, 2026. We received 2 qualified bids and 1 no bid response, and they are summarized in your packet. Financial on this, the 2026 budget allocated $405,000 for this equipment line item. The low bid was submitted by Joe Johnson Equipment for $364,894.86, which is $40,105.14 under budget. The next bidder, Coy Brothers Equipment, exceeded the budgeted amount by $34,250. After a thorough evaluation of the proposals, Public Works recommends to City Council to award the bid to Joe Johnson Equipment for the total amount of $364,894.86. And I did put on this memo to City Council that Joe Johnson did supply a similar Vector impact unit for physical demonstration. Our staff had the opportunity to operate the machine and confirm that its performance, compact size, and non-CDL operation will best serve the city's operational needs and maintenance schedule. So I would like to recommend to City Council to please award this bid to Joe Jansen Equipment for the amount specified in your packets. And I would answer any questions you might have.
This will keep the sewers and what is it? Broadway and Fourth nice and clean.
Nice and clean. It'll also do the catch basins on storm things. It'll help us with our ditch witch. So it gives us a lot of abilities. Where right now we have a trailer mounted sewer jetter. So when we clean sewers, we actually just push the materials down to the next manhole. This has a front mounted sewer jetter and a catch basin. So as we jet, we can lower the catch basin and we can suck up what we retrieve from the sewer lines at the same time. It's like what you see on the big sewer backs. It's just a smaller one, doesn't require a CDL license to operate. So it fits our operations very well. And it actually produces 1,000 more PSI than a current sewer jetter does. So, yeah, so produces 3,000 PSI. It's the same as what a big back truck does. It's a good little unit.
Move to approve the award of the 2026 sewer jetter purchase to Joe Johnson Equipment LLC in the amount of $364,894.86 and authorize the city manager to execute the procurement agreement.
Thank you.
You said you were worried about staying awake.
I guess those days, you know.
Second.
I second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve bid for the 2026 compact combination sewer jetter and catch basin cleaner to Joe Johnson Equipment LLC for the amount of $364,894.86 and allow the city manager to sign the contract. Is there any discussion? Unita?
Counselor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Counselor Navarro,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the contract for the sewer jetter to Joe Johnson Equipment LLC in the amount of $364,894.86 and allow for the city manager to sign.
Very good. Award to the Specialty Applicators LLC for the Monte Vista Airport.
All right, this is a grant from the FAA and CDOT, and this is the first step for us obtaining those grants. This is a request to approve an award, a bid for the airport pavement preservation project. On June 30th, 2026, the city held a public meeting where the bids for the project were formally opened and read into record by our airport consultants, Bolton and Mink. A total of 4 qualified bidders submitted proposals. Individual bidders and their prospective bidder amounts are detailed in the attached recommendation letter by Bolton and Mink. We, along with our consultants, have thoroughly reviewed the submittals alongside their analysis, and we both agree that and recommend that City Council should award the bid to Specialty Applicators LLC of St. George, Utah for schedules A, B, and C for a grand total of $437,668.75.
And this is paid for a grant.
This is all done through a grant other than our 10% match. 5% FAA and the other 5% through CDOT. So we will be on the hook for 10%.
45,000.
Correct. 44. 404, yes,
Something like that.
yes, $440,000,
Yeah,
yes.
but we're 10% of that, right?
We are 10%. 40 something.
I make a motion to award the bid to Specialty Applicators LLC of St. George, Utah for schedules A, B, and C for a grand total of $437,668.75.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded to award this to the Specialty Applicators LLC of St. George, Utah. The runway pavement preservation grant or bill, whatever, for $437,668.75 and allow the city manager to sign that. Is there any more discussion?
This is just a chip seal on the, basically, isn't it? On the
Pretty
runway.
much. Yeah, it includes some crack sealing, but yes, overall it is a specialty chip seal over the runway and the apron. Yes. And there's enough money to do the entrance road as well.
The entrance road from the railroad tracks?
Correct.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh, that'll be nice.
Wow. All
But
right.
it's a specialty chip seal, it's not the usual.
No, it's a
Put
special.
the oil down, dump it, put your chips on it.
It's the process is the same. The chips are a little different and the oils are different. But yes, the process is the exact same.
Any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Bradshaw,
Yes.
Counselor Naranjo,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to award the airport pavement preservation to Specialty Applicators LLC and to allow for city manager to sign. We ask that once the FFA and CDOT grants are finalized and fully executed.
It's their issue.
It's their issue.
They'll come in front of the board as well.
All right, we'll move on to amendment letter of conditions from the USDA Rural Development for the wastewater system improvement.
So this is the letter of conditions. Sorry. This is what I talked about when I was giving my presentation on the water and sewer rates. So this is specifically to the wastewater system. This is what the USDA, they can call this a letter of conditions, which outlines their funding package. This is an amendment to the original letter of conditions dated February 2nd of 2023. And the subject and the improvements is a cost overrun, and it goes through the entire what we have inherited. And I'll just read this into a record officially, so everybody's aware. It is a RUS loan number 1 for $9,999,000. RUS loan, which is rural US loan, $9,999,000. Number 2, rural US grant number 3, $9,299,000. And then the new stuff, rural US loan number 3, $12,119,000. And the rural US grant number 4, $4,998,000. The applicant, meaning City of Monte Vista, is committed to $755,000. EIAF, this is a grant that we had for design, $538,350. It agrees inside the letter. It's addressed to Miss Gigi Dennis. It says that you agree to meet the conditions set forth in this letter and you desire further consideration to be given to your application. Please complete the letter of intent to meet the conditions. Says that we will do the project. We will obtain financing. Our total project cost is $47,707,000, $350. Let me say that again correctly. $47,707,350. We will have a debt service reserve of 10% of one annual payment per year for the next 10 years. We will have a short-lived asset reserve of $17,458. We will fully meet the Build America, Buy America requirements, the BABA requirements. We will fulfill all the definitions for construction materials and everything else. And it is signed or will be signed by the Rural Utilities Service. And we are asking City Council to approve this letter of conditions and allow Gigi Dennis, the city administrator, to sign it. And it's a huge letter, and I do not want to bore you with all of the aspects, but those are the biggest things. It's basically a letter that says we will construct the project, we will provide the financial guarantees to make sure that we have the ability to repay it, which means we will raise the rates to pay it. We have also already raised the rates to pay for the first portion, the 2 loans in the original grant. We will need to raise the rates to pay for the 12 million and the 5 million that I discussed earlier. Those do not have to happen immediately, but they must happen very soon. Okay. We did not have the rates raised when we signed the original one back in 2023, but we had done those over the next few years to get there. So we have to have it done, completed, and have those funds available by the time the USDA loan goes into effect, which is at the end of construction. Okay. So
A question on this, at the end there says we reviewed and understand the conditions set forth in the letter dated July 7th, 2026. And our intent to meet all of them no later than 1/8/2027.
right.
That doesn't mean the plant's constructed.
No,
Just means there's conditions
that
in the
means
letter.
that you have to adopt
Rates.
rate increases. Doesn't tell you how you have to do it, but you have to adopt rates to absorb the debt service by that date.
I know we want a lot of public meetings, but it seems to me approving of this without approving rates for the sewer is kind of putting the cart before the horse. So I don't make that comment.
Understood.
How can you agree to something that says you will raise your rate, fundamentally raise your rates to meet what's required without adopting that? How can you do that? Legitimately.
You gotta raise your rates first.
Well, you have to do it first. But
We know that's gonna happen, we just want public comment.
can you sign a letter without actually adopting new rates? I find that a challenge. But I make a motion that we authorize the city manager to sign the amended letter of conditions from the USDA Rural Development for the wastewater treatment plant improvements as presented by the public.
I'll second it.
It's been moved in second to approve the amendment letter for the conditions from the USDA Rural Development for the wastewater system improvements. Any more discussion? Anita?
Counselor Bradshaw,
Yes.
Councilman Ronald,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Mayor Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve the letter of condition from the USDA Rural Development for the wastewater system improvement and to allow the city manager to sign.
Very good. Guys didn't know we were gonna spend this much money tonight, did you? Oh. Approval to issue notice of bid award to RMS Utilities for the new Monte Vista wastewater treatment facility.
And as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, tonight before you is the approval for the notice of award. This awards the bid to RMS Utilities Incorporated for schedules A and B, which is the new treatment plant and lift station with contingencies as provided by our city attorney to allow the contractor to get his performance bonds and his payment bonds and to lock his subcontracting prices in. So I will, the copy of the notice of award is on the back pages of this. And I will be happy to answer any questions on this. It specifies its construction of a new centralized wastewater plant, including new headworks, grit removal, process building, secondary treatment process, associated concrete basins, aeration system, blowers, on-site lift stations, tertiary filtration for metals removals, UV disinfection systems, and all necessary ancillary piping, electrical controls, earthworks, and biosolids removals and disposable. Included is the new lift station at the Henderson wastewater plant and force main from Henderson to Veterans wastewater treatment site for consolidation of all wastewater treatment at the Veterans wastewater site. And it gives you the contract award for $41,343,100, schedules A and B. And then the other conditions are the conditions as outlined by the city attorney. Award in any continued performance are contingent upon funding grants and other annual appropriations. Any questions?
And have Gigi sign.
And yes,
So I make that motion to approve the notice
your signatures.
issue. Issue a notice of bid award to RMS Utility for the new Monte Vista wastewater treatment facility. In the amount of $41,343, $41,343,100 as detailed on bid schedule A and B, and authorize the city manager to sign the award letter.
By the amount, Lauren, you said 41,000.
$41,343,100.
41,000,000.
Thanks, Dale. Mr. Mayor. Make sure I get that right. It's not 40, I wish it was.
42.
So do I.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve. Issue the notice of bid award to RMS Utilities for the new Monte Vista wastewater treatment facility. The sum of $41,343,100. Bid schedules A and B and the city manager sign. Is there any more discussion?
Just reiterate what we said, was been said 100 times already. We have no choice. The state CDPHE says you have to do it. Or they're gonna continue to fine us. I already paid one fine of $80,000.
Yeah.
There's no choice. I want to make that clear and make it in the record. This is not an option.
This is not an option.
You're mandated by people
CDP.
up in Denver to do this.
Right.
Unita?
Counselor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Counselor Navarro,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yeah.
Mayor Guthrie.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve the bid and award it to RMS Utilities for the new Monte Vista wastewater treatment facility plant for Schedule A and B with contingents provided by the city attorney. For payment bond and to get subcontractors locked in and to have city managers.
This ain't always so fun setting up here, just so you all know. All right, we'll move on to staff proposals, reports and actions. Big D.
Good evening, everyone. How are you all?
Yeah.
I just have way too much excitement. So I had to go work.
What'd you get done?
Nothing. So I did not write these reports. It's your request. My assistants wrote these reports and that for you guys. So
I'm gonna ask them to make sure.
oh, please do. I want them to get the credit. So with the recreation department, we just wrapped up our baseball season the last week of June. Our summer showdown, big baseball tournament that we're bringing into town is this weekend. It'll be in Alamosa this year, because our field's getting redone. So we'll have this for the last year in Alamosa. We're now preparing our upcoming fall sports. Volleyball will begin on September 9th with games scheduled every Wednesday and Saturday through October. Our tackle football schedule is to be determined. They're getting ready to kick off. Their games will be on Saturday at the high school football field. And that's the excitement for recreation. That concludes my report, as she says. But I do have something to read from a coach. Softball season is officially over and it's bittersweet. I'm happy because I don't have to be out in the scorching heat or getting hit in the mouth or any other part of my body by a softball. But I'm also sad because it's been so much fun. The best part of coaching is watching each of these girls grow and improve year after year, while celebrating their accomplishments along the way. More than anything, though, coaching helps me feel the presence of my Appa. It brings back so many wonderful childhood memories of watching him play baseball and basically living it, the ball fields all summer long. I'm pretty sure TJ and I crossed paths at some point as kids and never even knew it. My dad and Tom both played baseball and knew each other well. So our paths were probably meant to cross along before that. Thank you, Jesus, for giving TJ and me the opportunity to teach, encourage, and guide these amazing kids. It's been an absolute blast and a huge thank you. So that's from one of the coaches. I was very thankful that just had the opportunity to coach one of our youth teams. So, and she learned as much as the coach or as much as the kids did. Any questions for recreation? You guys are having too much of an exciting evening now. So. All right. So this is Sky High report, and I'm reading it word for word here. I hope everyone has a great week so far. I said a great week so far. I think we're all looking forward to the weekend. Here's a quick update on what's been happening at Sky High. As everyone knows, Stampede was held this past weekend, and it was a great success. We want to extend a sincere thank you to everyone who volunteered their time and helped make the evening possible. A special thank you to our chief of police and all of his deputies for keeping everyone safe. To everyone at Town Hall for always supporting Sky High, and to our public works crew for everything you do behind the scenes. We wouldn't do these events without all of you, and I have to give a special shout out to someone. I won't mention their name. Yeah. to Durban. Boss man, you did it. You made it through your first stampede. Yes, Lord knows I made it through. I know it was a busy one, but you survived. Congratulations. Now the stampede is behind us. We're already gearing up for the SOB 4-H Fair, which runs through July 30th from August 8th. It's hard to believe we're jumping right into another big event after that. I told the boss man that he's officially required to take a vacation, whether he wants to or not. We'll see if he actually listens. Gigi always threatens me too. Before the fair gets here, we have a couple of great community events coming up. On July 26th and 27th, we'll be hosting our very first book fair. They're calling it Books and Bites. It's a book fair that we're having along with a backpack distribution. So what we did this year was we combined our supplies giveaway that we give away to the kids from elementary school all the way through high school. So everyone gets a backpack, plus we contact the teachers or instructors in that and find out what actually the kids need as far as equipment or supplies go. And we go out and purchase those, get an awesome grant for Laura, plus many folks contribute and donate to that program. And so it's really been a lot of fun to host. And this year we're going to be doing a book fair. So Laura and the Rotary Club and a few others have donated several things to us. And we are going to have book fair. We have bought $1,500 worth of books. Most of these books cost between $20 and $25. And we are going to be selling them to the public for $2 to $4. And that some of the kids who can't afford the books or afford the $2 to $4 will receive a voucher. And we've heard from the Boys and Girls Club, we've heard from the schools, as far as nominating kids for the free vouchers to give the voucher. So anyone knows a kid needs a voucher for a book and that, we don't want to hold anyone back. We want all the kids to get books as well as adults. So the book fair is going to have from preschool all the way through senior citizens. Now we're going to separate the rooms. We're going to put adults in one room with adult books, kids, middle school, and that in another room. Matter of fact, I even have these for you all that they put together for me. To get it through you all so I can stay out short this time. I've given you guys flyers as far as what we're going to be doing. But the book fair should be awesome. We're really looking forward to it. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. So we're really looking forward to it. And like I said, Laura's done a great job with their donations and whatnot. And I don't know if Marie knows yet, but actually she's getting invited because she is an author of books. And that because we're going to have an author section too, where we're asking authors to come and go over their books and that, as well as present their books and that. So she probably looks surprised back there, and that's like, I don't know what's going on. So, but anyway, and also at Sky High, we're going to be hosting the Rio Grande Public Health Fair on July 24th and 25th. And going back to recreation too, Barb Sears, right, Gigi, is going to be hosting the WOW Games over at the park, over at the skate park and that again this year on the 25th. So, what's that? I'm sorry, 27th?
No.
26th, isn't it? Saturday, right?
It's a Saturday, right?
Same day as book fair. Same day as book
I think it's the
fair.
same day.
Yes, 25th.
25th. See, you guys have me spinning my head going around in circles, and I've had the right date the entire time. So that's all I've got as far as recreation and Sky High goes. It's been awesome. Everyone's been really busy. Staff's been great. So hopefully you guys got to enjoy Stampede. So thank you. Any questions?
Irvin, I have a question. Do you have any numbers yet on attendance from Stampede?
No, we don't have the numbers yet for that. So, but from what I understand, and I don't know it for a fact, and that from what I understand though, the concert doubled last year's concert attendance. And that's
Rough numbers I heard were 3,500 people.
yeah, compared to like 1,500 to 2,000 the year before. So it was a lot of fun. Not so yes, for most of us. Any other questions? But we'll get the numbers I'll have the numbers for you next time. So Thank you.
Thank you, Durbin. Planning, Mr. Enderly.
I mean, why would you do it now? I mean, if you sleep for Brad's reading.
So.
Good evening, guys, counselors, mayor. So we'll start with building services. So far, we're at 32 building permits for the year. We've slowed down a little bit coming into summer, stampede and those kinds of things, but I still think we're gonna be on track to about 50 by the end of this year. The process has been going pretty well. We're still working on the software process that will automate it. Mostly we're just waiting for them. It's not a one size fits all. They build a package as they go. So everything that we have is our permits, our rules, our regulations, our workflows. So it's a little more complicated to build out than I would have liked. With about 6 months of data so far since we took over, it looks like the department's going to be self-sustaining. Our permit costs are where they need to be. I don't see any reasons to change them. When we originally started in December, we talked about reviewing it about 6 months. And right now we're doing pretty decent as far as being able to keep the cash flow above a negative number when we talk about the output source on the permit costs. So that's good. The outside consultants agreement that we have with Colorado Building Code Services is doing really well. There's been a few hiccups as we move through processes and procedures, but he's done a really good job of getting everything done where we're not holding up builders for the most part. We had some small hiccups, but for the most part, it hasn't really been a big issue. Our GIS program is nearly ready for a public facing hub. The private hub is up and running. So we can already see all the GIS products. The public one, which you guys will be able to, anyone will be able to access, that one should be up within the next 30 days. There are some things that will not get published, such as anything that has to do with like actual infrastructure, location, and those kinds of things. There's a ton of data that will go out that the developers and public can use. And that program will feed into multiple other programs. So it's actually already paying for itself as far as our building services and that kind of stuff. It's done a really good job there. The EPA multi-purpose grant is going at a good measured pace. As far as the government entity goes, the EPA has not slowed us down very much. Our biggest slowdown has been in the laboratory side of things, and then putting those reports together. So we've received the analysis of brownfields cleanup alternatives, the APCA for City Hall, the police departments. They did those two separate, and the golf course 2 buildings that they have to destroy. We're still waiting for 117 Adams and 137 Adams. Once we have those, I'm going to work with Gigi, Rob, and the consultants to work on what the best strategy is. Right now, our current estimates exceed the grant by a substantial margin for complete abatement. So we'll strategize the best way to get the most out of what the grant we have, and then we'll strategize how to move forward with another grant. We'll cover that once we have the advocates, because there's multiple ways you can handle asbestos and other hazardous materials. Number one is you can leave it in place and just not touch it. Number two is you can do a partial abatement. And then number 3 would be a total abatement. We have the funds to do some partial abatement in some locations and total abatement in others. So what we'll do is we'll come up with a couple of different strategies that you can go to you guys, and you guys can decide which one's going to work best for the city. Chapter 5, that's the handout I gave you guys as you guys walked in. We had the work session a couple weeks ago, and there was some concerns brought up over the provide tickets before a summons. After conversations again with the police chief and the city attorney, they'd like to go back to officer discretion for upon initial visit. And then after that initial visit, you know, depending upon how many times they've interacted on the same property, how many times they've worked with that same subject, whether or not they believe that the party is going to do things, gives them the discretion to go ahead and issue a summons at that time. And then it builds in a section where if they pay for or they fit correct the item, they can send pictures to the officer. The officer can go check it and then issue a supplemental statement to go to the city attorney and the judge. And then they can either reduce or remove any of the fines and that kind of stuff if it gets more. So the language in there is a little bit different. And after this meeting, I'll email you the new chapter 5, which has those changes. The explanations that are in there When Brad, the city attorney, got a hold of it, he added more and more language to make everything more and more legally compliant. But it had to do with those changes. So there's quite a few steps in there, but nothing really from what we talked about last time, other than changing it back to a officer's discretion and then summons. Structurally and substantively, it didn't change. It was more making sure that we have all the due process and all of the ways for us to make sure that we're not overstepping in there. So there's a lot of extra flowery language because I'm pretty sure we might start paying him by the word. So when you guys reviewed it, after you guys got it, was there any additional questions that you guys had on the chapter 5 nuisance code? If not, I would like your permission to start working with Brad on the ordinance so that we can bring it forward in August for adoption. Okay, I will start working with him on that. Next is the chapter 11 land use development code. That was the last work session we did. That was 2 hours of awesomeness. Where you guys got to did a really quick condensed version of the 167 pages. And I didn't receive any questions or feedback from you guys after it. Did you guys have any feedback or questions on it? No? Okay. So the one question I do have prior to moving forward with developing not only the notification strategy, because we're going to notify everybody whose zone is changing name and structure. And then also we'll have to do the ordinances and we'll have to do the public meetings, so we'll do the postings. But before we do that, one question I do have is we discussed the publication requirements. And with the change in Colorado law, are we going to change the publication requirements? Because I would rather pass this now and not amend it later. If we're going to change whether we are no longer going to be posting public notices in the newspaper, or if we are going to continue to do that, then I want to leave it alone, but I don't want to do it without that knowledge. Because it's basically, do I need to put an X in those boxes for public notice or not? There's still, I believe, some that will be required, and that should do, I think annexation still requires an actual written publication. But if we're going to change that, then I want to make sure I change it now as opposed to later.
I'd leave it in the paper.
You want to keep putting it in the paper?
I would. Not everybody's looking at the website, not everybody's looking at the door.
Is that the consensus of the council? Yeah. Okay. Since we're not going to edit that portion, would you guys be all right with me moving forward with starting to prepare the notices and ordinances so that we can move that forward toward adoption? All right. The Urban Renewal Authority has begun surveying the city. Each member of the Urban Renewal Authority is taking a small section of the city and they're looking at the houses. So back in 2018, 2019, and 2020, they purchased blighted homes and then they removed the ones that were blighted. And now they're for sale. We have one under contract. It's going to hopefully sell by the end of this month for a market value, which is a decent price as far as what the market value for that particular property is $30,000. So that's the appraised value. But they're going through and they're looking for more properties to go ahead and start working forward on. And so we're going to start working on a strategy to not only identify which houses are and areas are going to be a priority for the URA, but they're going to start looking at what they want to purchase. And then they would probably be looking mostly at demolishing. That's the ones they're kind of looking at right now. But we could eventually make it to some that are going to be rehabs instead, and they'll look at that in the future. So that's the URA's property projects right now. We seem to be slowly moving forward. As I've tried to explain to the URA, this is going to be a long-term project. It's not like we can overnight say, hey, these 7 are the best 7 that we want to work on, and then have funding within a month. So it's going to take months just to develop not only the plan, but then write the grants to get it. So we're going to start working on that. Other than that, today I had the opportunity to sit on a mock planning board hosted by by Evans and Mora with the Department of Housing for Colorado. So it was actually really interesting. Sat down with some local developers. One that is already working in the city, a couple that would like to work inside the city. They're working throughout the San Luis Valley. But they pitched a proposal and we went through as a planning and zoning commission and kind of helped them tear it apart so they could put it back together. So it was a really good experience. I'm hoping that it will lead to some more interest in development. There was about, I think, 15 or 16 different people all there. Some of them current developers, some of them people that are thinking about getting into it. They might not want to now, but we'll see. So it was kind of interesting to see it like from their perspective, and then also to sit on the other side of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Because usually as the staff, I usually provide information, I don't ask questions, so that was a good experience for me. Looking forward to kind of continuing to work with them on that program. And otherwise, it's the office as usual. We're just seeing customers, doing fencing permits, sign permits, building permits, and working through all the various grants and reporting, on a pretty much daily basis. So, do you guys have any questions?
I do. Would like council for you guys to reconsider publishing the ordinance in full in the newspaper. It will be literally thousands of dollars to publish all of the ordinances that the changes for both chapter 5 and chapter 11.
We still publish them by title only, right?
Yeah, we'd still publish them by title.
It's just whether or not we're required to do subdivision notifications in the paper. So those are usually these $45-70 a pop. Do you read our charter?
We adopted a resolution, an ordinance amending the charter.
It's just looking at the link.
Thank you.
Yeah, we adopted ordinance to amend the charter to publish by title only. And so the new law that came down says that you don't have to publish in the paper anymore, that you can just publish on your local website, not in the paper. And that's what DJ was trying to ask them. So, because right now, like, we say that our publishing site is our front door of City Hall. But on ordinances, our charter says that we have to publish them in the local newspaper. Okay.
And our current municipal code says notices for subdivision, minor subdivision, replats, anything that has to do with land use. We publish in the paper prior to the public hearing, anywhere from 14 to 30 days, depending on the action. So that's the part that would be amended in chapter 11.
Okay.
But it is covered under the cost of the application. So it's not something we absorb.
Thank you.
But the first part of it,
Thank you, DJ. First reasons.
but the rest of it's down. The rest of it.
City attorney.
So last month's been, sorry, good evening, council, I didn't say hi. Last month's been busy, it's involved some, airport lease, issues, redrafting analysis and creating some documents to try to take care of our situation that we have out there as far as the airport and one lease in particular. Also, I'm working on the Remtech contract and some revisions, and that's, I believe, the one that they're gonna build the building out at Sky High. All right, yeah.
Yes.
And not to be confused with the other contract that, well, been helping DJ with some stuff too, and maybe I should be paid by the word. I don't mean to give them too much, but what we're trying to do is build in a lot of assurances and safeguards with some of those, meaning especially on this one where we don't have money in our bank account. So if we're under a contract to say we have to pay X number of dollars, and it's a lot, and so for some reason the money doesn't come through and doesn't end up in our bank account or something we don't control, like a bond or the USD or what have you, that's mainly what I was trying to do, is clean that up and really go through it, make sure we're not on the hook, or at least try. Make sense? If we don't have money in our account, I don't see how we guarantee anybody the money. But then how do you write that to make sure that we do have written assurances and letters that we can rely on, that we're waiting on, particularly from the USDA? Fine, but we certainly want to try to protect ourselves. Been working with DJ on can I say the sickles matter? Anyway, some steps involving streets and other things that we're working on. Also been working with Rob on that, took a ride around town with Rob, looked at a couple of our issues we've got involving an easement as well as an issue up here involving working with CDOT and some local business owners with regard to where the new sidewalk's gonna go and whether they're gonna allow us to do it at least temporarily to get it built and some things like that. So everything from streets and easement to some contracts to dealing with some other things through planning and zoning as far as some streets and some properties there. One property in particular, we're looking at whether you probably have to do a quiet title. It's one that we obtained through a tax sale and working through that, trying to help DJ and get that set up to advise or try to find a way around it, either way. I worked with, did some memorandum and research with Rob on the NOA he was talking about earlier. And I've touched on with Public Works a little bit with the chief, worked on a policy for him today. Of course, we meet regularly and he's trying to figure out some fair and safe guidelines with regard to his people if they want to go do something after hours. Is it fair to say? So we're working on that. We also did a little research on the Sky High facility indemnity provision and rental and use agreements for Durbin. So we do have, indemnifying documents that say, hey, you sign this, you're going to hold us harmless if what you do when you rent the event center and put on your event doesn't come on to the city. So I'm revising, looking at those. We have at least one potential event renter for the facility that doesn't like that provision, doesn't feel that we can make them hold us harmless. I disagree and we're working through it. In fact, it's my job, or at least to believe it is, to try to get to protect us as much as possible. And anybody that's doing anything on our facilities or our ground needs to try to protect us for something we don't have any control over. That would be their event. Their people running it, and we're not involved at all. And so I know I hit a lot of highlights, but it's about 30 hours so far this month to give you an idea. So we've got a pretty steady workflow. And then earlier, there is a provision in our charter, not state law. I cited state law, and I advised you correctly, according to our charter, you should take a vote. And that's a section I'm still looking at, trying to understand. The first part says that you publish after the first vote and first reading, but then the rest of it was changed because of the state law and the publication, right? But
so ordinance,
to be safe, 939, I would ask you to go ahead and call for a vote. And that's because of some language in our charter. And I had told you earlier, didn't have to do the second time. My apologies. But we've got some language in that one section that suggests we have to vote before you publish. That's the bottom line, which is a little bit different. My apologies. But if the mayor would like to entertain a motion to pass ordinance number 939 at this time that I stopped you from doing, or at least encouraged you not to earlier. Sorry.
There, we'll make that one.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to approve ordinance
939.
939. Is there any discussion? Guess better read it all. Hang on. Ordinance 939, an ordinance of the city of Monte Vista amending chapter 2, section 2-5-50 E of the Monte Vista Municipal Code to provide the municipal court surcharge and court cost are established by the Monte Vista fee schedule. Now is there any discussion?
Adopted on first reading, right?
Yes. Yeah, on first reading.
So it can be published.
You need it.
Councilor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Councilor Naranjo,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard.
Yeah.
Mayor Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve ordinance 939 on first reading. An ordinance of the city of Monte Vista amending chapter 2, section 2-550 E of the Monte Vista Municipal Code to provide the municipal court surcharge and court costs are established by the Monte Vista fee schedule. And then, so just so you know too, ordinance 926 was passed, and it actually takes out the section in that ordinance of our charter that says that the ordinance has to be published in full on the first reading, saying that it only has to be published by title.
Which is huge, and the state law used to require it, and then if they would allow anyway, I'm glad they fixed it. It's really expensive. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. City manager. Looks like it's just one side.
Just one second.
Did you see how small she wrote?
Yeah, it's bitty bitty letters.
I want to thank our audience for staying with us. These meetings usually aren't this long, but since we were closed over 4th of July, that's a long agenda, so. Laura and Brad and I attended the Colorado Municipal League Conference the end of June, and I didn't think it was as meaty as it's been in the past.
That's why I go to the attorney sessions.
Yeah,
I have comments when I get the council's
okay.
reports.
But it's still something I hope the three of you can go at some point, because it's great networking and hear ideas from other council members and what we can do. Senator Hickenlooper was in town, well, excuse me, he was in Saguache last week, and I was invited to go up and visit with him. So put in a plug and said thank you for at least submitting. We haven't heard back yet on our congressional funding request for the wastewater treatment plant. But and then I complained about the wastewater treatment plant and that whole process, and because a lot of what CDPHE is doing is based on limits and things that the EPA has also set down. So it's just a big ugly circle, and then some of the other little towns chimed in and said yes, they agree, and we talked about that. 4th of July, it was kind of quiet. It was sad that the lights, Christmas lights, what do you call them? Fireworks.
It's coming up.
So I told Andrew, I said, well, you guys had a successful stampede and now we're going to start on Christmas. But regarding stampede, just a huge shout out. Our staff was terrific, from Public Works, the police department, Sky High, our volunteers. Many of them were employees, some weren't, that were in the parade, and everyone stepped up. And it's too bad the chief didn't have a report to give tonight, because I'm sure he could give you some details, but it seemed to run well. And in spite of Rob's concerns with the parade, I've never received more compliments about how well it worked. So I guess we had the duck effect, and no one could see how they were scrambling underneath it. But the chief pointed out the barricades that we have are, we make do. But DJ reached out to the Lore Foundation today, and they're going to buy us $14,000 worth of barricades and other safety equipment. So that will be improvement for not only Stampede, but other city events that we participate and help support for the community. The county commissioners toured Kids Connection. They wanted to have an idea, and the funding that Anika receives for the food portion comes from Rio Grande Public Health. So I think Anika reported that we went up and gave a presentation a couple months ago to the commissioners. They hadn't ever gone through our facility, and so they took the time to do that. So we were appreciative of that. We have been in a lot of meetings the last couple of weeks over the wastewater treatment plant and trying to work through details, and we're going to have some sort of a little site audit that they're going to come through and just excuse me, that's wrong. We're having a little site audit on our generator project. That funding came from FEMA, and it's being streamlined through Colorado Homeland Security. And so Homeland Security is going to go through and just make sure that we've got all the documents that we need that comply with the federal funding. So we've been working a lot on that as well. Rob and I had the FAA was in town this week, and so we went out to the airport so they could see what was done from last year's project as far as the crack seal, and we'll get their report on how things are looking. And then I've asked the Lore Foundation, and they've agreed to help make some cosmetic improvements inside the terminal. And so some of that work we'll be able to get done with our employees and kind of give it a nice facelift. Let's see. The WOW games that Dervin mentioned, those proceeds go to Kids Connection. So Kids Connection will be out there selling coffee and donuts and whatever else Anika would like us to do. Rio Grande Public Health also has a health fair going on that same day, July the 25th, if you want to run up to Del Norte and do blood draws and things.
Thought they were doing it at Stampede Jones.
It's
I
a
don't-
Stampede.
Sky High?
Or it's,
Awesome.
yeah, that's what I heard on the radio, I thought,
No?
that it was gonna be at Sky.
Yeah,
Get the
Okay, I apologize.
events and-
It is?
Ryan has been saying that every day. It's gonna be on the 25th, 7 to 1 or something like that at Sky High.
We have a flyer. I guess I should read the details. Just because it's also coming up before our next meeting, the San Luis Valley Fair, that starts at Sky High on August the 2nd and runs that full week.
30th,
Starts the 30th.
July 30th is when they start setting it up.
Oh, okay. Well,
And
but
it
the
runs-
public doesn't go in until August 2nd, Sunday.
Yeah,
Is that right? And then, just so you get it on your calendars, the First Responders National Night Out will be August the 12th. And Chief will bring that up at the next meeting as well, but so you get it on your calendar. But that's also at Sky High, and that's free for the public. And our officers will be flipping burgers and roasting hot dogs and playing games, and we'll have some other vendors and things. So they've worked real hard pulling that together. And the next meeting is August the 6th.
yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks, Gigi. Council, committee, city commission, and council reports. Mr. House.
You should go, you gotta figure out how to go to see, figure out a way to do it next year. But I attended 2 sessions, as a city attorney might attest, I pretty much go to all the lawyer presentations, I find them the most useful. The continued attack by the state on home rule is disheartening. You know, the state continues to try to insert themselves into what has traditionally been for ever the under the auspices of the city, it's a home rule city. And they keep trying to take away and say, well, we're gonna do this. I mean, it happens in planning, right? I mean, it happens everywhere, right? With the police department. It happens everywhere. And that's disheartening to listen to the presentations and talking about how the state continues to try to insert themselves in what has traditionally been the purview of cities. The other one I wanted to talk about, which I have pretty reasonable knowledge about, I listened to 2 presentations, one by this wasn't a legal presentation, it was on data centers, and one was illegal on data centers. And the misinformation hysteria about what data centers, the impact that they have is stunning. People don't understand, they really don't understand. They talk about water, because water is a big deal, right? There are data centers that use no water. Literally, no water. it's closed cooling and it's liquid inside the data center, but the liquid is, the cooling water is cooled by air. So you can design data centers that have no water consumption. The other part of that is people say, well, my rates are gonna go up, people, my rates are gonna go up, what are we gonna do? Having been in the power business for more than 40 years, I understand how rates are designed and what impacts electric rates. And having a energy consumer like a data center, I mean, I'm not gonna get into the technical side of load factor and capacity factor and all those things that you get into when you're in the electric utility business. But a consumer of electricity that's 100% of the time, whatever the capacity that they're using, whatever electricity that they're using, lowers the infrastructure for everybody in the end. So the misinformation about data centers that I see in the paper or hear on the news and it's literally hysteria and misinformation by people who just, I mean, you can look at the news today on any other topic, and there's people out there that just make wild claims about anything they want, right? And that's happening about those. You know, a data center here in the valley, wherever it would be a benefit. Now, do they employ a lot of people? No, they don't. But they have people there. There are people there. And it's tax base. And the impact on water can be zero if you design it right. And the impact on the electric rates is going to tend to take it down, not up. Now, if somebody wants to get in the argument about electric rates, I'm ready. Because I've designed them, I've implemented them, I know them intimately. So if you want to get into that discussion about how a data center would impact your electric rate, let's go. I'm ready. So those are the two presentations that I thought were really informative. So if you get a chance, you should try to find a way to go. I would encourage. Gigi talks about it. They're useful.
Seems to be not at haying season.
Pardon?
Needs to be not at haying season when I'm stuck on a baler.
Find a substitute. Find a substitute.
And to Lauren's point, get the right information. Like you said, look at it, get the right information. Don't just listen to all the
Hype.
thank you. That's not the word I was.
Well, I know, I'm trying to keep you out of trouble. I'm trying to keep you out of trouble.
All the hype about everybody freaking out over it. And that's the same thing as we said here within the city. And you ladies are all here. You're hearing the information. You're here listening to it. Where everybody else is. I can't say nothing nice. I'm done. Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah.
We'll jump to you.
Let's go to Cam first. The only thing I think is touch on Stampede a little bit. I thought it was a great week. I think the setup now with the hotel there, it kind of made it a little bit more convenient for everybody. A lot less traffic, it seemed like. It was pretty cool that the Avalanche head coach actually showed up on Saturday. You know what I mean? I thought that was really cool. So, and like you said, kudos to Chief and their guys, because post Stampede was a little bit crazier, but Stampede went really well. But this last week they've been busy and they never stop. So kudos to those guys, man. They really are the heart and soul of this community. So thank you, Chief.
You. Sound the last one. Yes, sir. Rob, I want to say good job today on that fix. Thank you. That seemed pretty smooth from what I saw on the outside. Stampede, of course, everybody, good job. Seems smooth. Chief, I know you've been busy. Doing a good job. You guys are doing a good job. It's hot. Got a little rain last night. Hope for some more. Supposed to be kind of rainy next week, but
Yeah.
About all I got.
Man, I have a list. With everybody, Stampede went over very well. I want to thank all the city staff and the Stampede committee. I thought it was a great deal. The concert was good. I went back and talked to Joe Nichols, welcomed him to our community as the mayor, and he said this community was one of the best ones he's been in. Absolutely, hands down. He said the most friendly people he's been around in a long time. And while I was back there, there's some lady that lives out in the county who heard me talking, and she came up to me and told me how much she loves Monte Vista because of the community it is. And she just praised it all the way around. Also, on July 26th, I believe it is, out at the McMullen building, with everything else that's going on, there is a group of people there's a young lady that has been confined to a wheelchair her life. And she's putting on a livestock show. She is bringing extra wheelchairs, they're bringing animals in. So people with disabilities will be able to show animals. So, yeah, I think that's really cool. So if you get the chance to go out there and support them, I think that'd be great.
You know what time?
I'll have to find that out, Gigi, and let you know. I'm gonna guess it's gonna start in the morning, probably around 8 o'clock. And the young lady that's confined to a wheelchair will be the livestock judge as well.
Location again, sir, sorry.
At the McMullen building.
McMullen.
That's,
It's Skyham.
Yeah. Outside of that, I want to thank all of the law enforcement chief and everybody that was involved in that incident that happened the other day, because it started by my place of business. And there was so many scenarios that could have been really bad, because within a 5 to 10 minute window there, I had a truck coming back with a big sprayer on it, which would have been beneficial for the police, but and then I had another semi that rolled in to pick up a piece of equipment, and I mean, he no more than got parked when that guy went by. So thanks to everybody involved, Monty, Alamosa, Rio Grande, everybody. So with that, we are going to take a short recess, and then we're going to come back in here and go into executive session, gentlemen. So we're taking a recess.
So he's the way this thing reads. This is the actual sign law. Publication. So I want to see what CML is showing. They're usually right. They're good.
In your motion to go into executive session, and I expect Cale to say it.
We are currently in executive
No,
session.
no,
Oh,
we're moving to go into executive.
oh, I make a motion to move into executive session.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to go into executive session for a discussion of a personnel matter under CRS section 24-6-4024 F I and or F1 and F2 for the discussion of potential hire of permanent police chief position. These will be recorded and not involving any specific employees who have requested discussion of the matter in open session. Any member of this body or any elected official, no votes or decisions shall be made during this executive session. Anita?
Wait. I think, Cale, you're supposed to say you want to go into executive session for the reasons that's written on that paper.
Right,
And read it.
it's part of the motion.
Yes.
I make a motion to move into executive session. This executive session is for the discussion of a personal matter under CRS section 24-6-402 F4I and number 2 for the discussion of a potential hire of a permanent police chief position. So these required.
Maybe this yellow folder, just so you know. Okay. All we need to do is call for a vote at this point.
That's correct, and we can make record or not, just say this, of course, will be recorded and kept, of course, to the statutory requirements for, I believe, 90 days.
Okay. So Unita?
Counselor Bradshaw,
Aye.
Counselor Naranjo,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to go into executive session for the discussion of a personal matter under CRS section 24-6-424 FI and 2 for a discussion of potential hire of a permanent police chief position. These will be recorded and not involving any specific employees who have requested discussion of the matter in open session, any matter of this body or elected official. No votes or decisions shall be made during this executive session.
Okay.